everybody, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing this duct tape panda squishy. Now I just wanted to say that I am going to be doing a duct tape week starting from today all the way till Friday. So you'll have 5 duct tape squishies back to back. And this was just because I did a poll on my Instagram to see which videos that you wanted me to do from Monday to Friday, and you voted to have duct tape squishies. So to start off with this DIY, I just took a car wash sponge and I just kind of cut it out into a rough circle shape. What I then did was basically just went back and forth with my scissors, making it as smooth as possible, and then I just went with my scissors and kind of cut off the top kind of edge just to have a rounded dome-like effect on the top. I then took my scissors and just kind of like grazed away at the foam to make it a little bit smoother. And I didn't do this for very long really, I didn't make it perfect or anything like that. I basically did it for about, I don't know, 30 to 40 seconds, not very long at all, until I was left with a shape like this one here. Now the slow rising of this was not very good, but it's okay because this will improve once you completely cover the sponge with tape. So taking some duct tape in the colour Snowflake, basically just a really bright white, I just basically covered the whole of the foam piece with the tape. Now this tape doesn't stick to the actual foam very well. It does stick slightly, but it does peel off really easily. But luckily the tape does stick really well to itself. So once you get like the first couple of pieces on, the next pieces are super easy as they just kind of stick to each other rather than just peeling off. So basically I just put 3 kind of strips all the way along lengthwise, and then the 2 outer strips I just cut little kind of snips in and just folded them down to make a neater, smoother finish. I basically just kept going until the whole entire thing was completely covered in the white duct tape. So I did want to make a memory foam version of this, but I felt like memory foam isn't really accessible to a lot of people, and following feedback from like my other memory foam squishies, a lot of people like to see them without memory foam. So that's why I chose to do a car wash sponge, as this is super cheap. Like I picked mine up for 25p each, which is in dollars is about 30 to 40 cents, somewhere around that region. So it is really cheap to get hold of. I know in a lot of pound shops in the UK we can get like a pack of 4 for £1, so that kind of works out the same, and they're just really readily available in lots of cheap places. So basically, like I said, I just went back in and like with that white duct tape, and for the bottom I actually just stuck it right across, which was the final bit which actually pulled all the tape together rather than it kind of like sitting on top of the sponge. And I just kind of put this really flat on the bottom and then took my scissors to cut off the excess around the edge and just kind of folded up the little bits that were left. So as I said earlier, it didn't really matter about the slow risingness of it, as once all the tape was fully on and fully sealed up with hardly any air in it, it does slow down a considerable amount. So what you want to do is to basically make sure that all of the little air holes and stuff like that are completely taped over as much as possible, so that you can kind of trap some air inside, which will then give you the slow rising effect when the foam bounces back. To make sure I had most of the air like holes covered, what I did was just pressed it down on top of my table, and I just kind of felt where the air was coming out the most, and I just went in and added some extra bits of tape to kind of tape these over to trap all the air inside. I didn't, however, cover all of them up. There were still a few little air pockets. Now this does really help the air get in and make it slow rising, so you just want to find a good balance between covering them all up and not covering them all up. So you just want a few left there so that you're happy with the slow risingness of it. You could just keep going back and forth until you're happy with how slow rising it is, and once you are happy, it's then time to pop on the face of the panda bun, or obviously design it however you're going to make your squishy. So taking some black puffy paint, some white puffy paint and some red puffy paint, I just kind of squeeze these out onto a little piece of paper, and then with my dotting tool to add like more detail, I just painted this on. So like I said, I used my dotting tool, and to do this, basically I just dipped it in the paint instead of using the paint kind of straight to the squishy, as a few times before I have kind of messed up using the paint right out of the nozzle onto the squishy. So now I just take the extra precaution of doing it with my dotting tool, as I find I get a lot neater results and a lot more precision where I want it. So what I did was took some black puffy paint and I just painted out the eyes and the nose in between, and I then popped a little mouth coming out from the nose, and I then moved on to the ears, which were above the eyes, and this took me quite a bit of going like back and forth to get them the right size, but I basically just wanted them really kind of symmetrical and the same type of shape and size, so I just kind of went back and forth until I was really happy with the design. On my last duct tape squishy, people asked me if they could use markers or felt tip pens or anything like that, and you can, but you'll have to use a permanent marker to kind of stick to the duct tape, if that makes any sense. So you'll want to use like something like a Sharpie or something like that won't rub off once you touch it. Next, taking some white puffy paint, I just painted on the two little eyes onto the black bit of the panda's eyes, and then I used some red puffy paint and just painted on a little bow on the left ear. Now I didn't actually let mine dry, so the black kind of smeared into the red a little bit, but to be honest, I am so lazy and impatient that I couldn't be bothered to wait for that black paint to dry. So what you want to do is make sure that that black paint there is dry before painting on the bow, as it will just smear into the red, and this is exactly what happened to mine. So I had to keep going back and forth and just over it until I was completely happy. So once the paint was fully dry, my squishy was then complete. So as you can see, this squishy turned out so much more slow rising once you put the duct tape on it. I didn't do anything else to the squishy at all other than cover it in duct tape, which really just traps the air in, like I said, and it just turns out so nice and slow rising. And I don't know what it is about the panda bear, and I just love it so much. Like, I love also like where these eyes are, like your thumbs just fit perfectly on it. It's like you've made two little thumbprints on the eyes. Also, I quite like squishing my squishies like this sometimes, just to kind of show you like how slow rising it is without me touching it, as some people kind of get mad and say like I pop it out with my hands and stuff like that, which you can't really avoid your hands being on the back of it because that's what kind of supports it up where my squishies are. So yeah, sometimes I just put it on there just to kind of like squish it almost like slime, so there's that. Yeah, so like I said, I am going to be posting a duct tape squishy tomorrow and the next day all the way through till Friday, so you'll get 5 back to back. I am going to be doing different designs and stuff like that, so I hope you like them. If you do, please give this video a like, as it really does help me gauge what type of videos that you want to see next. So yeah, please give this video a like if you like it, and subscribe while you're down there if you're not already, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!